So thanks to everybody who is here. Thank you very much. We'll give introductions in just a couple minutes, but first we'll do opening prayers. So I'll screen share. We'll do the short refuge prayer, and we'll do the four vast immeasurables. We'll do those two prayers, and so we can recite together, everybody out loud, but mute your microphone so we don't cause feedback. And Geshe La, if you will do the recitation for the prayers in Tibetan, would be much appreciated. So you'll see the text there. I know you know it. Okay. Okay, so we'll begin.
Rola penshir samje rupo hyo samje choda soje chona la janchu bado dana japso dage jinso jibe sanam jin rola penshir samje rupo hyo samje choda soje chona janchu bado dana japso je dage jinso jibe sanam jin rola penshir samje rupo hyo.
In the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, most excellent. I take refuge until enlightenment is reached. By the merit of generosity and other good deeds, may I attain Buddhahood for the sake of all sentient beings. May all mother sentient beings, boundless as the sky, have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be liberated from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they never be separated from the happiness that is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion. Geshe, can you recite in Tibet?
Man nam kha ta nyambe semje thamje dewa ta dewe jo ta dembar chuji dunge ta dunge jo ta thewar chuji dunge mebe dewa ta mendewa chuji newe chadam ni da thawe tamyo la ne par chuji.
Thank you very much. So now, just for a moment. Okay. So this is our first time doing this with Geshe. So if we're a little clumsy with getting the organization set up here and everything, but I'm sure we'll be able to manage and everybody will be well. So I'll just give a general introduction to what it is that we're going to do. And that is that we are studying Buddhism, study and practice, and that we are broken down into three different sections of the session. The first part are the opening prayers to set our motivation, which we just did. And then the main body of the session will be the teaching and the discussion on the 37 practices of the Bodhisattva. So this could be also a study that you do on your own. If you're home reciting or practicing, then you would do your opening prayers. Then the main part of your session would be the practice, would be the study. And then at the end of this practice today, this discussion today, and at the end of whatever practice and study you're doing alone, then you would do a dedication. So we'll be doing that at the end of our session this evening. So if anybody needs any of the text, anything like that, you can contact us at buddhapracticestudy@gmail.com, and we will make it available for you. So thank you all for coming. What we are doing is we're trying to establish an understanding of basic Buddhist practices and so on. So in the beginning, we're kind of painting a canvas with a very big, broad brush and not a whole lot of color. But as we continue along this process, because this is going to be a Monday night teaching that we're going to continue for some time, a couple of months, maybe longer, however long everybody is happy and wants to be on the same page. As we continue along, we will repeat many things, but as we repeat these things, we'll also use a finer brush. And we'll look at more details of the things that were first expressed as broad topics and so on. So if you have questions, if you have comments about things, please don't hesitate to let us know so that we can make sure that your wishes are being included in what we're going to do. But it does go in a circular kind of fashion where we go around with a very broad discussion, then it gets a little bit tighter, we repeat again, and it gets a little bit tighter and everything. So it's kind of like a spiral that is going round in a circle, and then as it goes, it gets tighter and tighter and tighter till it gets to the very top of the spiral and so on. So this is our normal method in the way that we approach our teachings and our practices. So Buddhism, for those of you who are here for the first time, Buddhism is a system of the Dharma. The Dharma was the teaching of the Buddha who lived 2,600 years ago. Shakyamuni Buddha is his name. Shakyamuni is how we differentiate him, and he's the historical Buddha. And he achieved enlightenment in his lifetime, and he began to teach the Dharma, which is the expression, the intellectualization of how it is that he was able to attain enlightenment so that we all can benefit from that. We just can't kind of plug in and receive enlightenment. We have to go through it. We have to go through a gradual path to be able to recognize it, realize it for ourselves. So on that path is what, as practitioners at our level, then there are bodhisattvas. And so this teaching that we're about to embark on, the 37 practices of the bodhisattva, are those teachings, are those practices of the one who is approaching very, very closely the level of the Buddha. So through these meetings, I think we'll all have a better understanding of what it is to be a bodhisattva. So let me introduce, if I can please, let me introduce Geshe Lharampa Jampa Choedup, who is from Tibet and who left Tibet many years ago and attended Sarajay Monastery in South India. And he has been there for many years, I think 26 years, if I'm not mistaken. And he has gone through the levels of achievement in scholarly recognizing the Dharma and so on. He's been a student of the sutras, and he has gotten to the point where he has, like, the chief, the top level of the Geshe is the Lharampa, which is a title that is bestowed upon him as a PhD in our society would be given to a philosopher, someone like that, a great scholar. So his achievement as a Lharampa, he is especially adept at debate, being able to have discussions in the monastery with other monastics, talking about the different permutations of the meanings and so on, and the practices and the Dharma itself, to give explanation for it, and so on. So he is a wonderful teacher, and we're very, very happy to have him here tonight. So thank you very much, Geshe. And also tonight he is up in New York, and he is part of the Kadampa, the Karmapa Service Society, which is the host of the 16th, 17th Karmapa, and so he is up there right now. And a great Lama, a great Rinpoche, is coming to their center this evening, and Geshe certainly needs to be there to welcome the Rinpoche and to meet him and so on. But he knew that we had an obligation here, and he's taken time to make sure that we're starting this program that we've committed to, that he's here for this. So we really appreciate his doing that for us. So thank you very much, Geshe La. His brother is Dorji. You can see Dorji is over here. There he is with his hand up. His brother Dorji, his older brother, slightly older brother, several years older, and they grew up in the same house by the same parents and everything. And Dorji has been working for many years in America for Radio Free Asia. Being able, as a reporter, giving the news and current events and so on over the air, through the internet, to the folks in Tibet. So you understand that he's just been furloughed and all the controversy that's going on with that and everything. But Dorji is very adept at being able to translate and help us with that. So he's an excellent reporter. And their niece is Yangchen, who you see with us. She is the daughter of Geshe and Dorje's brother. And so she came to America about a year ago, a little over a year ago, and she's been working in the family business in Virginia. And she has been very, very helpful with translations that the conversations that I've been having with Geshe La and Dorje and Yangshan over the past couple of years. So we're very blessed to have both Dorje and Yangshan to be able to help us to understand the language differences and so on, and get the real meaning of what it is that Geshe is speaking about and so on. So the other people here, Kunga and Alex and Zara and Matthew and Bernie, have been with us for several years, many years in some cases, and they are serious students of the Dharma and practitioners. And so we don't always have the opportunity to have a Geshe speak with us, to be able to have discussion. So it's very great that we have that. One of the wonderful things here is that Geshe, one of his motivations is to be able to understand more the way the Western people assimilate knowledge and so on, and to be able to teach to them the Dharma, but at the same time to learn techniques and to learn Western ways of being able to understand things and practice things, so that he can understand that on his side. So we look at it that there's the East meeting the West, and they're coming together as brothers and sisters. So one doesn't necessarily have to dominate the other, but they support each other. So thank you very much. Does anybody have anything that you'd like to add, Dorji or Yangshan? Is there anything to add? Maybe fill Geshe in on any of the things that I just mentioned.
Gishla lenslagi khara yama ngoto dordu rodendo nanso ani dijela shembado kishye yama kaptu kora gotsu shemba.
Ngechana tanda kunga nyamache Alice che Korana choki shitang ngoto nangsoa. Ta Koran choki ngarang cho namchu lojong chiye sebure ta ngarang cho chik semkhan ripi lojong chiye ki ti miyun do dire sonra chana digreves.
Gishi said it was a pleasure meeting everyone, and he would love to get to know like the reasons for like Kunga Nimala, Matthew, Bernie, Alex, like everyone in the team, to know like their reasons for um like studying this Buddhism, like the um yeah, like Buddhist philosophy, like what has gotten you guys into this interest? Like he just want to know if that's okay. Yeah.
Very good. Yes, thank you. Um, I'd like to ask Geshe, if he would please, to first give us an introduction, a definition of what a bodhisattva is, so
Mm-hmm.
that from his point of view, from the Dharma point of view, what it is, what are we in relation to the bodhisattva, and what is the bodhisattva in relation to what we call Buddha?
Mm-hmm. 아니, 렌슬라기 칼송슬나 단다 nganzu 다 chanju simbe 아니 카라타 랑레 양라 소드말렌다 디 엔디로 드라인 비게자로 다 원디 chanju simbal라디 기시켜랑 위니 뉘 컨데직라 징기스 원디 톨 데셰 도두시게다 아니 안데친 콘수예야 기자셰리라스
나서 나서 안에 초조 참말라 타히데르 휴인스 안에 가서 렌스라게 우티베 ngaran soge ne chi chosho go drolin dinde che ko khoyu dela khoyu tumba da khoyu la nyamshu jinge chama dela ane mone tane sing thapane ne sing tin na pha tahidele da thuje che hyuins
Gishi just said like good evening everyone, and then thanks to Lensla for providing this opportunity so that we all can share our inputs on this Buddhist studies. Mhm.
adi ngaran so de drolin che de kawa zambo hyuin sangwa dos da tuche de medama so nganso so so tuche peche tanda mangbo yore tuche ndre che le peche tanya de ya pe mise ge semba kibu dos
Mhm. Okay. Gishla is saying that we all have like our own day-to-day lives and everything, but he really appreciate like how everybody is extracting their own time, like every Monday between 7 to 9, like that 2 hours into this practice. So he really appreciate that and respect everyone for doing that, despite the day-to-day life and everything.
아 janchu semba seya de kande jire se labdi zambane nganzo janchu semba se di zambane ngarazo jaga ge kheba pade dawa tapa ge karusong yore sena nyentu sanjin dina thongwan je samji janchu semba le thung hi ni je senda ni so melo ta janchu sena jase nam je jur se di zambane ta ngarazo ndeshi ge lecho yoche 네거다 타투그 되지 상마근 중년다보다 원에 상추 semba 임바 송게 요레스 데 자차 자레데 하스타 르바타 힌주고 토는 바토스 로운데
Mm-hmm. Correct.
어
Okay. Gishi is saying that well, a Bodhisattva is like a certain a being in the Mahayana Buddhism, like who had generated Bodhicitta, and then their intention is to attain Buddhahood for the benefits of all sentient beings, rather than seeking the personal enlightenment like immediately. They are like those certain beings who wanted to attain the Buddhahood, but for the benefits of like all sentient beings. And then a bodhicitta is like those great beings who choose to remain in the cycle of rebirth, the samsara, like to help others to achieve the liberation or like the Buddhahood.
상추 semba세는 간소 답 데보진이 지 휴바이나 간데레도 세나 상추 semba생에 대 상추 그셈 냐네 쟁에 그 간사 때라 상추 semba슬랍 아니 상추 그셈 세드 간데지 레 세드 잠바네 원에 자네 로와 리툴라 아니 지 쇼다 리스 쟁에 예와 춘 마체바 쟁에 로와 리투데 Rani la tsewa yoba ten nanshi Rani rowa ritu la pa yewa chun mache chen sangma la pa ranyang ga tsewa chi che tsewa teya ngaranzo neka ka khala teya ka tsewa sonda wata chik dolo yoya ka tsewa sonda tende chi mayin ba che ne tsewa tiga miyu te la thatu la koranzo sangma te ana ngune tane lana mepi dewa chi la ya go goa samsa ke tende tsewa chi la ana shamchu ka sen sigdus.
Mhm. So basically, if we put it into a short one, Bodhisattva is someone who practices Bodhicitta. Well, that would be like someone. Bodhicitta would be those person who practices like a love. It's more like I'm showing love not to your family or to my son, like to my kids, not in that way. Like for every sentient being, like in the same way. Um, Showing like everybody in the same level, and then hoping that everyone would be able to achieve like happiness and joy.
ten indi zama ta tenele ngaranzo shoda risu machepa senje tsamala susulu tsewa nangi susulu tsewa nangi ke senje tsamala ranya ande tsewa seyade kandriji le thugre kandriji le yores ngaranzo mi singe telo shoda risu seyade chi gwenko reta mare seyade so tsamade ta nganzo dwelingala shagores.
And then this is more like how we should be able to like shower love to everyone in the same way. And then we can discuss like how we differentiate like in showing loves to our friends, and then how we differentiate like people into like this is my close friend, this is my friend, and then like this is my enemy, like in that way. So the Bodhicittas are those beings who never like differentiate. It's just like those beings really wishes like every all sentient beings to achieve liberation and happiness and then the Buddhahood.
Ngarango konghi do cheba ina shori che seyade cheyade dizi ngocha le rondo chigidus.
And then Gishi, he himself, he believes that when he has to differentiate sometimes like among people, or sometimes when he make a decision, like if there is any like differentiation or such things like comes into his way, he kind of feel ashamed while making the decision. Like if he has to put somebody else in front of someone like that way.
Ana tendeji
Yeah, that's his definition for Bodhisattva.
Very good, thank you. It's very important for us, and Geshe has said this many times, to encourage discussion. So at this point, does anybody have any comments that you'd like to make, any questions regarding the Bodhisattva definition? Would anybody like to say something at this point before we continue on with the 37 practices? Please just turn on your microphone or raise your hand. Zara, please.
Yeah, thank you so much. That was a beautiful introduction to the term and the concept and the practical practice of it. So for us, would we all be considered aspiring to bodhicitta? Like versus how do you know when you are what he just described, right? Bodhicitta versus that's why I read the aspirational prayer, right? The vows and stuff. But right now none of us would consider ourselves bodhicitta. We would say we're aspiring towards that. And then how would we delineate that conceptually and practically, like in our action, right? How do we know when we get there, right? How do you know when you're there?
Mhm. All right, thank you. Let me translate this over to Gishi. Dike jati song anzu thanda da khare di chanju simbe cheba la di kola da dra indi zamba da chanju simba la di ngö jing go di zamba ngaran so mi so so re la su ta changma chanju sim ga ji lam di la dra ga ji thap shi tang go la ta ina so so won di la le sung la do ji yora o da di pechi nge gi ta ля chi dang di gi ta kulum den ro di gi da nge gi chanju sim ga ji di dis jing nyam lin chi gi yo sa re la do ji yora so so la 원디 카디 수수 임바도 당지겨라 원디라 레샤라도 디 컨디스 야체 투아체 고레스 남샤 균데 나올리아
tere tanga tanda nga chanju semba mayimba songza chanju semba chadu ki feeling raw jorwa te kande me dinge tanda shutu ma songs ta yina ya nganzo Shanchu Semba Cha Macha Senda with the Kavaresena, Shanchu Sem Ranjula Che Mache Che, Shanchu Sem Ranjula Che the Mache Seate, Tamone Taneke Shanchu Semba Wene Imba in Aranso, Miss Sota Sunda which is Tapa in a Drata Nies in a Yera Chud Menjo. Ngana tus jene samsana jarum chi shamchu sen gom somdi tamar shamchu sen goya thapshi chi gis shamchu sen goya thapshi chi de tis chi kangen yung de and what the kari yung do sena jami ngan so dupu tang shanjo de sanu kho yung do de kho yung de tamane ane shamchu sen yang gomya la tis chi ngachen ro chi dos chado chi dos tende yin Shamchuk sem ngwene te chewa ina ngwene chane ke ngo napo ta ngo sebo kecha yo mare supo napo ta supo kapo si yera chege mare kanta manta cha semche dewan dönge chi ta dönge mendönge ke kansa chi tsowa yunge kansa chi insa wi shinche la sama la jinsung ke tsewa yapo chi le tunge chi chaso na ta tedu shanchu semba chaga yo res.
Gishe said, thank you for your question. Gisela was saying that since he is also not there, so he really doesn't know the feeling of how like bodhicittas feel. But he said since we like bodhicitta is certain like how bodhisattvas are those beings who has generated bodhicitta, right? So he said bodhicittas we can differentiate like in the world of bodhicittas those beings there would be no like literally no terms for like how we say this is my friend and enemy, like there's no discrimination on these things, and then there's no discrimination on your races as long as it's certain someone with a life that like needs to be showered with love, and then it would be showered. It doesn't matter like with the racial discrimination, races, this, that, all these things. And then Gishi also said this thing when he tried to practice bodhicitta, it is also hard for him because practically like he himself as a Tibetan we did like suffer from the Chinese government's rules, and then that's how we lost our countries and everything. So that point also hits him like when he has to practice bodhicitta, it always rings a bell in his mind like, oh, China, like Chinese government has done this to Tibetans, and then that's how like he's unable to like keep it maintain it in a good level. So he's still trying. Thank you.
No.
Thank you. That's a really good way to answer it. Thank you.
Please, does anybody else have a comment or question at this time?
I have a question
Yes.
about the definition of a bodhicitta or of a bodhisattva. Is it meant of the choosing to remain in the cycle of rebirth to help others? Is that thought of as literal, that they literally would be choosing that, or is it more of a like an attitude to take as part of one's training? So wouldn't being a Buddha, a full Buddha, be more beneficial to sentient beings than not being that, or than stopping short of that? And if that wasn't the case, wouldn't Buddha Shakyamuni, why would he attain full Buddhahood rather than remaining in cyclic existence?
Thank you. Genshwe kita di tisung kare nganzu chanju semba la dizugi ani da dowe che dule ya kare sangye la do da andro ra khunzu kulung jingdang di. Ani wando indu zamba ta ganda manda khurang su gi khowa nanglo la khunzu rangja shu di do. Kare wondi ta thanda khowa nanglo khunzu rangja shu yangya la ni ngarang su kya do ki ta khanda la khowa ga ji di tu ani di jala ya milpha phe do le ni andro di tungo ra. Ta wondi taga story ki yanamngus kora andores kisi andingus raina ani ngaranso sangye jomden de do chashana ani jiden kwala ma pere dola ani mi kara ngaranso ta kanda manda andro chini ta che kara wondi ta sangye ren sungoras an sangye jomden de kora sangye gwa mindos wondi chedila kora ge tagarang ngaranso kwa nanglo ran korni ani ande chini chamju simbara 까지 남는 신친 엔터테인먼트 디도스.
Thank you, Matthew. 단다 대여로 간서 빼무식 좋았딩 살도도 잠추 셈바 임비 qabla 잠추 셈베게 yenla yendon cheya chora ropa cheya chi yore ana san je chadu tsamba ne ya yenla yendon cheya chi yore deni lab che chung da che ba ina san je chaba ina yendon cheya de pa di ge lab che wa yore is junse kan yin se ba ina san je se du tsamba ne ngone thane ke yen ge khanda mepa da yen la kap da du da khande chi gu ge me chama de ngarang so lapa nang lo la chi chala ji shana te thong na yi thong tu gu res kare sana sang je cha du chama ne rani man thong wa la dingi ke dupa singe de chune menge che pang ro go wa te men ro pang ro de chama ne sam je ke ne yen le yen de khande chi che gu ge na kap da du da yu da ana tende me ke khanda mepa da tende le pa pe ke yen de khande chi che gu na yenda yakho de sanje ge chetu ge ba sonza shanchu semba na ge inji menje sanje de dugu yores duya zowo de tanda charang gu somba na ge koran la shanchu ge semda gyana tsewa de yoza dig cheres
아니 도도 안드로라나 아니 찬주 셈바디 상게 말이 라고라.
shanchu semba sanje mare
Okay. So Gishi said, for Bodhicittas, it's like they do always think for the benefits of others, and then even for those beings who had attained Buddhahood, they also work for the benefits of others. So basically, both Bodhicittas and Buddha, and then those great beings who had attained Buddhahood, both of them can both work for the benefits of others, and then they really aim for that. But the outcome of both are completely different, because if one being has attained Buddhahood, that's like you have liberated, right? There is no negative emotions or no like other energies that is like blurring your vision, because you had already liberated, you had attained the Buddhahood. So basically, yeah, so on that way you can benefit others in a more better way, because you'll be able to like see everything in a crystal clear view. That's why the people who practices bodhicitta, and then those great bodhicittas, they also like they try to meditate or practice more so that they can attain like Buddhahood. That would be the next step for them.
te cheon de ngala tika tu de la chowa ni song se chi leg do sarwa chowa tangbo de gandel leg do sena ngarang so mi singe de la mi singe na da tyunro singe na da ta chi rowa ri tu khande chi yim ba ina chori de chena ke gensen chewa yorwe chori de maje na gensen chewa yores samala dranya che chingchong che ne de cheba ina gensen chewa yores ya de chwa de chi cherwa ane tenene ngarang so ke 도스 제원데 잠만에 소소 파말라 제와 요래 나밍라 제와 요래 자창라 제와 요래 제와데서 쉬우 요래스 이나 양서 시차보지네 따바이나 소소로 제와 요바 나시지가 페겔라 제와데 테 투구드웨스 테테 구글에다 테 구글 마레스 땡안서 트와지레샤스 아네 님바텔라 땅안서게 미싱에 때다 로어 리투 간데지 임바이나 참말라 고야데 무이데야 데지게 체도레 캄바데야 데지게 체도레 사야 동야 고야 가리나 참마 데지게 체도레 임바 손자 고 위나 메나데 데지데레스 데지 인도 참바네 땅 안속에 단다 받은 거라서 참마 냠뉴 사요레 로 미다마소노 메세 도세 께레레 메첸 디나로랑 거라서 등에 면족에 데지 세야지 등에다 만데위 데지 세야지 안솔라 라투고 두에스 ता तेले हाच ची देचिला न मे पासे सांजे सेयाजी यान रोया यरवे दु थुगरवे दुया यरवे सेयाते ता ngaran so la thwa thini te ge lende soso che thugu gunus
Well, since we were discussing, and then while we are discussing among ourselves, for me, for Gishila, he had like arise like 2 to 3 questions to himself, and these questions were like, we as a human being, or even if it's an animal, like as long as it's certain life which is within the cycle of rebirth, the samsara, like when we differentiate or discriminate among each other, is there really a benefit on doing that? Like when we discriminate one among other selves, there's no point in that, right? So that's another like point of view, or like what he thinks, so that we can further discuss over on that, like how there is no point in discriminating or differentiating among oneself. And another is how we are able to like love our families and then our close ones, and then how we are showering them with love. Are we showering them the love like how you love yourself? Are you loving yourself more or your families more? Like, can you see any difference on that? And another thing is he said, what is our purpose, or like what do we need generally in our life? For example, the food we eat, and then the money we make, and then the house we live, everything, like our final destination would be like happiness, right? Happiness out of the food, like we eat, we find it delicious, and then that's how we are happy. And then the money, like we earn it, and then we spend it over for vacation and everything. And then the house. But Gishi is also saying that since like we all have somehow like certain experiences till the life we have lived, is there really any happiness like that does not come along with the problem? Like how if we overeat the food which you liked, it would turn into a problem, right? Like a stomach ache, which would be followed by, and then like that way. So if we really like, is there point where like can we attain something more like the Buddhahood? Is that like what we need, like that? These are the things which is coming to his mind while we were discussing, like those points.
이 시당하는 단다 자신 란레 소디 만나로라 따뜻소마 히차보 진이 레고 레서와 제장하기 단다 촌난다고 지 가려 요새나 나란조 셈바 나로라 초리 히고 제딩에 주요로와 초리 간데 지게도 세나 근데 바 미기 초리 제단 제바이나 담보 미다 든로단 로와 옌가 파라라 초리제 미파라라 초리제 운데 야 촌촌 샤쇼 nganzo 노쇼 레발라네 든데 초리제 야 소소 야 샤쇼 바찌브간다우지 임베완도 담바이나 야 촌초 자 콘소 소포 콘소 베트남 nganzo 페파세네 쇼리지제 페파 나노르 초 쇼리제 운데 야 코초 야 룸반다워 이게 야 떼르레 nganzo 멜레레라 nganzo 멜마 잉에 데소는 레운데 잠바네 야 지지 추파카 파다 nganzo 추카다월라 나는 말레운데 양알에 야부 징에 게 조조더라네 양알에 대상 야부 뭐쟁이 게 조조 생달라네 조리도 지체 근데도 지는데 빼면서 조리 제제 말레운데 타도는 수술로 투도고도 데데 셈바데 가르도세나 셈바데 고소 도보 빼나 캄바 고 도보 지나로는 구조시다 땅사 면조 지나로 데데버 손다오지 잠주 그 셈세드 잠바네 최 대원 등에 나 등에 문등에 대난시 나 대원 등에 등에 문등에 대난시 안소 참마 리치파 대원 등에다 등에 문등에 리치파 아니 타투 그 대와 두야 용에 그 리용에 부다 내처 용에 그 리치파 아니 텐데체는 쇼리 추는 마체 바체네 초라 칼라 구거 나라 칼라 구거 나라 또야 구거 초라 또야 구거라네 tende chen pha samu tende tangye te pe misige na khamba jachembo chi nanola chi lhelo chen de yenge ke tizon ro chen semba koyambo semba jachembo tende chogudus.
Well, since we would be talking about the 37 practices of Bodhisattvas, that would really talk about all these topics that we were discussing. And then Gishi he himself believes that people who discriminate or differentiate, it's more like, for example, first when we differentiate among all the like samsara, among the cycle of rebirths, we would be going like, oh, we are human, those are animals, like in that way. And then among humans, it will come down to like, um, we are Eastern, they are Western, and then among the Eastern ones, it would be like how among East Asians, it would be like we are Indian, we are Nepal, and then this way. And then for example, if we go to like our own, like we are Tibetan, and then it would go down to like I'm from the eastern part, he's from the western part. Like that's how like people keep differentiating. And then even if we come down to our families, it would be like I got two brothers, but this is the one who gives me more like love, and then this is one who doesn't like, who keeps irritating me like this way. And then that's how in the end, if we think in a good way, it's always like it comes to me. Like this is the one who is doing good to me, like so this is more like how you are stuck in a way like tight or compacted house, like in a small room where you are stuck, like thinking like this is like how he's doing good to me, and then that's why this is like how the differentiation is coming. And since like everybody like how bodhicittas, they think like since everyone needs happiness, and then Bodhicittas are those ones who thinks like we all are same, and then we all wishes to achieve happiness, and then everyone has the Buddha nature, right? That's how like we would be able to attain Buddhahood. Um, this kind of perspective, like people thinking this way with no differentiation, right? Everybody is same, and then everybody has Buddha nature, everybody wishes happiness. This is more like a big house, and then like filled with empty, big, and then where you can like let your mind be broader and then think more like in that way. Not like the one who keeps differentiating, thinking like, okay, this is that. Like in the end, it comes to me, right? Like the house, the small one and titled one. Mhm. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That will be all from his end.
Thank you very much. Yes. Does anybody else have a comment or question before we go to the 37 practices?
Can I say something?
Of course.
Yeah.
And then after you, Alex wants to say something.
Okay. Yeah, I think the word discriminations, and then we can also use the word biased or unbiased, I think. Jampa Yanchi did an excellent translation in terms of overall what Geshe said. What I understood is someone who is biased and someone who is not biased. And so someone who is biased, then very, very kind of narrow in terms of outlook. And so you are biased at many levels, like racials, as well as regional, as well as family, and then within the family. So it is an excellent example of how someone who has a biased mind will restrain himself, make himself so small and so narrow-minded, whereas someone who has an unbiased mind, then everything looks completely different. So that's what I understood. And then earlier, Geshe Champala was saying Bodhisattva, right? So I thought Bodhisattva is someone who loves unconditionally. If that's what I understood, someone Bodhisattva is someone who loves everyone equally and unconditionally. Thank you. That's just my quick understanding.
Thank you. Alex, would you like to speak?
Oh, thank you, Geshe-la, for more explanations. I myself scientifically oriented, but I appreciate and love study all kinds of religions. But for me, my background is Christianity. I also studied Taoism and others. And but Buddhism for me is favorite because you can go very deep in understanding because it kind of encourages this kind of question and answer and debate and so you can really like deepen your practice. And I almost had the same question as Zara, but I modified a little bit, and I want to if you could explain, like when we take Bodhisattva vows and we really like into that, is it when we become Bodhisattva temporarily until we lose that kind of, you know, attitude and start becoming biased, or you think Bodhisattva is something we really like gradually build up to until there is no turning back, until we never can have a bias to anybody?
Thank you. Dilas kare kora chidang chani kare yishuwa jins ani nang chulu re ani tsenrik re tende roshin mangbol tanyu yos ina yo nangchu di kora ga jingwe ni ta jangay nanglo ni gashu ro dins kachin nangchu gyuni ani tanda ngarang tsuki ro deya chuling di re ani ani tiwa chilin ro tende ro mangbo chi ya di kala encourage le da ya chi duas 아니 원디 친구 배우고도스 아니 근데 디즈이 카딩기 수수하지 장야딜레 바트마팅 사르도 드레도스 아니 딜러스 카라당 안조 창주 셈바 아직 안조 창주 셈까지 로 안드로든 탐자도다 켈렌드 링기야 안조 잠잠 왕도다 안드로 카리니 슈드 잠바 텐드로 칼 켈렌드 주기 갑드 당 안조 케도다 딜레 아니 디냠렌디 치드 잠바 아 원디디 당 응어스 코라 수수기 디체디 잠바 수수모니 창주 셈바 아직 디로직 차이라 하시는 소소 원디디 이어제레 디주 개고실린다 원디 이내 튠튠튠도 지르다 원디 내가 빙갈라니가 디로야스 그래 chanjusembaji kulungdo di zindi di zambanga nega ringal chanjusemgaji di thobres yana chanjusem la di endodoji gres rimshi ya tsik doji dura da ya do chini ani magic da di zambata yenje la je ma chore do shora ta wondo di res kosise ya
tanda di Alex tanda di tuche na se pe mesi tanda diji yorwa nge tanda konsola diji lagi yos pe na ngaranzo migi sanu ta tanda bachi yorwa samsana konso ke nga namba yin ko kache yin ko yishu yin lagdwa che yishu chana yapo yore ko namba chana yapo yore che kache chana yapo yore le tende langi ji yungu dorwa tende langi pa tewa kar tigi yosena nga namba cha la di tsamba ne chi titwa la chi ta yor se pego kana nga yishu cha la di tsamba ne titwa la ke yo sa twa la chi ta yor se chi supo ne chi njon ro ya chi yor wa nganso o tende da wa ke yor se la tende twa ti yo se ane nge ge ngene samo yasho ro di kar khogu to se na namba ta khache ta yishu ta chi chi se ti ming ji re sha sang dos ta yena mena ngara zo changma la guya yona menate dewa teta muguya yona menate dunge de reshas ten chama chipa chichang re dikhas tende indi de chambane kabre kare nganso ming ke chocho ga ya ma nyoda so ya tende ji yungo do teso ming ke jel ro de wa chang re ma to tenda nimbo chi chag mundu sansa tende yungo do us
okay all right 당부디 치셔라 well thank you for your question and before giving you an answer, Geshe thinks that like as a human, like our perspective, he believes that there are certain people like who says I'm Christian, I am Buddhism, and then I am a Muslim. Like there are people who will be like, if you convert to our religion, like since I'm a Buddhism, and then you can be a Buddhist, and then you can be this, that, like how they try to convert you, and then for him, like if some people ask him like do you want to become a Muslim or a Christian, something like that, he would be like even if he changed his religion, there's nothing, right? There won't be anything. Like how will people know that whether he's a Christian or not, right? Because there isn't like any tag, or you don't transform into something, right? Christians are like this, or like how we don't have anything, right? It's just like how people name them. He believes that all religions are the same. It's just like the those, like how we say Buddhism, Muslim, Christian, these are just names. in the end, like what are we all looking for as happiness, right? We all want like achieve happiness, and then we all doesn't want travels and all these things. So he believed like most of our like certain like our crisis and all these things are really because of these names, like how people go after the names more. So that's why like many crises are coming over. Yeah. Any
Tenene
oh.
cherang somba namshi ke cherang ke shamchu ke sen kama chik kama nga kama chu tende chi ke nyamne chepe ringa tela shori chun ma she wa che tsama ramnyang ra chi ke tho ne chi ropa chi che chungpa ina tsama lan ranyang ra chi ta kange chi chepa ina kange se ya ke thalan te tsama lan ranyang che ya ke nende ke cherang la kama nga chu chi tende ke sano che wi tu che tela cherang ke shamchu ke sem 따다지 제 두개면은 간다 샹주게 생다 찬다와지 제 요바데 세보레스 타제니 시 두개.
And since you mentioned that while you are practicing your Bodhisattva vows, and then when you are practicing, for example, if that's like 5 to 10 minutes daily, and then while you are practicing, when there is like no bias, and if you need to help like somebody, you are helping them as if you are helping your own like family, like in that way, then I believe during those practice, and then while you were doing that, you really had achieved Bodhi Chida, but like I don't know how to say it, but for that moment while you were doing it, since there was really no bias, so you have achieved it.
남식이 셀라 차랑기 단다게 셈 자체부터 까마찌 까망아 까마줄 제 두야게 샴주게 센다 찬다고 된다고 때 남식이 셀라 차랑기 제제제제제 뒤tam반에 뒤쳐질라 차랑가 파 쪼와 제네 깔레 전에 파제 무고와 남식이 수 지 가르세 그런 나랑도 칼라스 안돼 제와 남식이 된데 톱도 제야 윤조지 중반이나 셈지 간데지 통소나 텔미비게 제와 된데게 메조진이 제 무고 파 곰니 제 무고에 곰니 직제 창조 된데지 중소나 안에 장원에 상주 셈바 따다데 차누게 사레스.
And then as you continue your practice, and then if you could gradually build this, like how right now we are trying, right? Trying so hard that so that like during our practices there would be no bias, right? If this practice keep continue, and then gradually it will build up, right? As you go up, it will go to that way where like how we don't need to say like it's dinner time, lunchtime, right? It becomes part of us, right? How we go eat food and everything, just like that. How this practice, if that could become your like a hobby or a part of yours, then that's really when like you have generated bodhicitta.
때네
We don't
타제니
need to go for that.
라 그러는구나.
Yeah.
때네 나라서 타제니 가르 휴두 그래서나 차랑 그 샹주 그 센 냐네 제김비 갑때 당 샹주 그 센 란줄 제 투ян다고 중바이나 다 때네니 좀 제네 차랑 소소를 차게 바이나 셈그 동엔다고 때서 슈 첨보 나라서 난주 이나 진야세 과세 망보 용데 셈그 동에 때서 용데 때서데 다 자차 둔주 제주 용고 매바데 다 때네니 세보 차도 그래스 대장제 마체 나랑 소치 중화 땅 시그 코유 땅 된데게 쩨베게 르락 동에 중바 이나야 샹주게 셈데게 산노 땅땅 다가랑기 르그 동에데 자차 제주 영에 임바나 자차 순주절마 산노 땅땅랑 그 쇠투고 여바데 따티 타제니 쇠투고 레스 다 슝다 리파다 시부 담바 속에 지 냠뇽다 된데게 토네.
And then Geshe said that we can clearly state that you have achieved bodhicitta. Like we can state this thing when you, sorry, 1 second. Yeah. For example, it in this way, like how if you had achieved like that practice to your day-to-day life, and then if that's within you, then there would be time where even if you are suffering from like physical illness, and then it's like hurting, but then basically like on your when you think the way you think, and then that way it won't hurt that much. Even if the pain is like 80%, to you it would be just like 30%. So that's when like we would be able to clearly state that like you have achieved that level of bodhicitta, or like you have generated bodhicitta like that way.
당할 때 펜션지 가르쳐요서나 당내게 로종 제사 연하면나 빼따사 연하면나 신주 제사 연하면나데 His Holiness the Dalai Lama res Dalai Lama के कालो पेपे को कोलतां कालो कंडे च नंबा इनाया जमी कोरते ता जमी पेंबो कोरते जो सोमदि चंबाने ड्रावले छिते चावनी न खरा पेजे तंग मंदुस ngansola semnalo la das ya da chi le der ma to chi ke jarum bo chi ina jami ina re jami pembo ina re ma kho gyung me ina re chi te so la dawo se chi ti zawa ni ne pe cho tong thong ma news ko ma news.
And then another example, like a life example for like people who had generated bodhicitta, like the way they express out. I can set an example of Dalai Lama, like how we Tibetans feel like when we were like, if somebody else mentioned like Chinese or China related something to us, it's more like, okay, like our enemy, right? Because they were the ones who had taken our land. We would be focusing more on that one. But His Holiness, in all his teachings, and then his advices over to the people and then to us Tibetans, it's always like the Chinese government, and he would go it in that way. He never mentions like our enemies, like those who has taken our lands. He never mentions. So from this we can see like how people with bodhicitta practices are greater like that way.
jarum bo chi ke sondi chamba ne khonso mila chö du cha re da la ne mila chön je zawa ni ne nang me dus khonso gu ju la yope ke sem marum pa sem mashi wa nyomo pa te so go ko tang che ne anu khonso gi shawa ngem ba den du khon do gun dus den de yim ba son za khonso gu ju la sham ni je ta sham chu ge sem da ngarang zo chama la chabi ge zewa da sham chu ge sen je wa sho se ne me na de jag dus.
And then His Holiness always prays, he would be like the reason for the Chinese government's doing all these things, like ruling another country and all these things, are because of their like bad intentions, and then because of those negative energy or emotions that's ruling them over, because of these things, and then this is leading to the bad deeds, like how they are ruling other countries and all these things. So he His Holiness the Dalai Lama always prays like, may the Chinese governments, like those leaders, may they be showered with love or like compassion and all these things, so that at least there would be no like bad deeds because of their emotions and then all these negative thoughts, right?
Tendendo che unde ana shamchu gu sem se ya de ngone julu che change ge che bo tamba chanchu sem ba te cho gu jula ti nyerin se ya do te halang penje jacha ja yo samaris saman ranyang da chinchon da te ya junse yang da ba chi ge to ne.
And then this is how we can certainly prove, or how we can see like those great beings who has generated bodhicitta, they really has like no bias at all.
Nge gu ngone kar cho gu do se na ngaran zo mil pha kal ranya ta gu re se di kali ti si yung dus mil phan ranya ta gu re se di ngaran zo la chi nge nami ta nge pinja ta chi chi se ya ti chi la derwa ina mi ki chu su so la yewa ma che wa che su so mi shen da nyang do di yewa ma che wa che ne ranya chi ta un di su su chi wo shu do as mi ti la thu che na sang do as this sound ne su so pha ya ta ga ra ta gu yo ban da wo chi ngone ripe ke thon rotang dok thon te gu gu ban da wo chi re di khas.
And then Geshe mentioned that like when we need to be unbiased, it's kind of hard, right? When we need to go outside, and then it would be like, I'm gonna go with my family or close friend, this, that we tend to bias, right? But in certain circumstances where it's like you're meeting someone stranger, like a new person, but then that one treating you as if everything is same, and then the way they treat you in a good way, you feel so relieved, and then you feel grateful for them, right? How when they treat you the same as they are treating their family, like if you're gonna go with a stranger, then from that point of view, he feels like the importance of unbiased, like how it's important to treat everyone the same. Because when you feel it, then that's how. But then it's really hard when it comes to practice.
라온 단다 던데지 대간서 빼잖아 마음은
Yes, that would be all.
Thank you very much. It's all very wonderful. Bernie and Kunga, would you each like to add something to the conversation at this point?
Sure. I was interested in how the Lama Geshe would compare Bodhicitta with perspectives on emptiness. How do those two relate together? Bodhicitta and emptiness. Thank you.
겐추기 가르쳐 셈보다 아니 동반이래요. 콘스니가 강라 컨데스니 더 수도디 컨데스도 인스. 코라니가 나로를 키시 데어도 주소고나.
도잖아 건강이마 도잖아 thank you 제자들이 간서 용나노를 차샤바이나 삼지 그 공파데 나랑서 그 줄라 나랑서 그 센데 시당 그 차네 센데 셈데라 트마데 그 내가 그 파동되어와 마도 센 코란 트마래요 말와 다 셈데 그 트마데 마 쭈구나 주야 그 토메 그 군혼라고데 쭈구 삼사 그 군데 강 가르게 체도 쭈구 그 예메데 소소 그 드파 빵게야 그 군혼데 간데 예메데 상주 그 센다 니제데체 아니 드파 데라 메다 마소나 카티 짱에데 소레서나 아니 토니토비 헤라데체 덴데 인데 산제 그 공파는 로고나 토니토비 헤라탄 상주 그 센 니데 메바이나 샤치라 효바티마도 야니 메바나 이 때나기 차노도스.
So Gishi said, if he, like for Bodhicitta and emptiness, these two together, if we connect them, it would be like how, for example, our like as a human being, like our minds are covered with those negative emotions, and then all these things, right? These are the emotions are controlling us right now. That's why we act like anger, and then all these things comes up. So if we consider those negative emotions and all these things as dirt, and then if we want to wash it, like so, since we need like a clear mind, right? So if we want to wash it, our intention of washing it in order to attain like Buddhahood or to achieve liberation and all these things, the intentions, that would be the Bodhicitta and compassion. Without these two intentions, you won't be able to achieve the Buddhahood, right? So without these two practices, you won't be able to. But then the emptiness would be the one which would be the practical, like the study of that thing. So the intentions would be the bodhicitta and compassion, and then the emptiness would be coming along with that as a wisdom. So that's how like you would be able to wash off the dirt.
근데 제운데 안서 제자 똥이 또비 헤르스야 줘라 똥이 세야데 다 답데보체네 이제 해자거나 저서고 레라부 자에 메데서 그래 가르쳐 그래 안서 딜르티 장고야 연조 똥이 세야데 다 텐데 세야 줘라 찌찌는 제와세야지 똥이 세야데 톱드칼 라윈데 똥바 개 menjo 신에 존다지 고윤데 고마힌 조선로지 차고여데 똥이 세야데 뭐마 산노 야포지 땅바이나 히버 땅야 연조 똥이데 산노 땅 투바이나 찌찌는 제와 요바 찌찌를 땜바 찌벨 차샤바이나 가랑소 나기 빼양 쇼지 가르라스는 가랑소 COVID-19 깔라 딕 카투텔라 카르코스나 원네 자네게 딕 카투텔라 수수래야데 송조지 제고나 예 송조 마제바이나 수수 송조 제 menjo 나오지 가르제는 맞잖아 수수 간르지 구구요나 예는 땡 구구요 바지 예는 맞땡바 수수 세야지 유에 매반다오지 덴데 임바 송자 땡중 세야지 덴네는 가랑서 라트야 윤조지 펜션지 라송스
Gishi said, now if we focus more on emptiness, Well, emptiness is like a certain term which is really hard to explain in one word or two like that way. But emptiness, like the wisdom that really needs a lot of practice. And if we think deeply on the emptiness, then it really focused on the interrelation, like how everything is dependent on one, like among each other. And for example, during the COVID-19 crisis, during that time, I believe like everybody has got to know like the importance, like how we really depend on others. Like if there was no doctors, then somehow like how we need to keep social distance, and then how we are relying on the sanitizer, this, that, like somehow everything is like dependent on one, like among each other, right? That's how like emptiness practice will focus more on the interrelation, like dependent.
다 근데 이용도 가서 돈이데 제일 단도 마티시 안조 전이나라 레고지레스 근데 임바 손자 체기 돈이다 닌제다 상주고 세니고 코르테 단다 도 두두 장게 근데 기야 링바데 카딘 체스.
And then thank you for bringing out the topic, like the relation between bodhicitta and emptiness, like how you brought this up. I believe we really need to discuss more in like our following sessions, like how let's focus more on that. But thank you for bringing out like compassion and bodhicitta, chitta, and then emptiness together.
Thank you. Bernie, would you like to have to add something?
No, I really don't have any comment at this time. I really don't have anything to add or to ask at this particular time.
Okay,
Can
very
I?
good. Thank you. Yeah, somebody was going to say something? Yes,
Yeah,
George.
can I just add one thing?
Sure.
Yeah, this is very interesting. What I understood is Geshe said generating bodhicitta and then understanding emptiness. These two are like the two feather of a bird. You know, a bird can elevate and can fly using with two wings. So same thing, bodhicitta, generating bodhicitta, and then understanding emptiness. These two are the way for you to attain Buddhahood and enlightenment. And at the same time, Bodhicitta, Brother Lance, you used to show me that crystal, that ball, crystal ball. You used to show me. That's exactly, yes, exactly. So the very nature of our mind, it's all like so pure. And however, we are so they are dirt, or it is clouded with so many things. And then it is the understanding of emptiness. That is like the technique, like the tools that will kind of, breaking through and then get to that kind of bodhicitta and fully understand and so on. So more like a technique, tools, or methodologies, how to break into and get into that bodhicitta. I thought that is a very beautiful explanations as how the relationship between bodhicitta and emptiness. Both are so extremely important. Thank you.
Thank you. I would just like to add one statement and to remind myself, that Bodhisattva is a name that we give, this holy person, the essence of the work that this person does. But there are bodhisattvas that are Christians, that are Jewish, that are Muslims, that are Hindus, that are Taoists, that are humanists. People who are working in the same way, who have the values and the qualities of bodhicitta, and are working in an environment of emptiness, and recognize that emptiness is not exclusively a Buddhist thing. A bodhisattva is not exclusively a Buddhist thing. We have a name for it, but other than the name, it's shared by everybody. It can be.
그래서 나 단다디 nembe ti hye shamain tanda kunga ni ma soya chorwa ta empty lerwa nganzo tangi tomni ko lo sonrwa ta tomni ha konge chorwa tomni ha konge tela ngarang so sherap sombares tomni ha konge semba chorwa tomni tongi ke shanchu ke sem nan shin ke lo tela sherap
Mm-hmm.
kola sherap selap shanchu ke sem tela semba sangbo imba songzang shanchu semba senanda shanchu ke sem senanda ninje senanda techo thab ki chanda wache mida masona namchu ki kunhunda wache che tomni empty tongi ke lo de la herab se du zambane namchu nda wache che ane shanchu ke sem te ta namchu ni sungde ke na sanjelon ro go wa de shani ki khopanda wache wa tende chagdus.
Mm-hmm. And Geshe would love to highlight like how emptiness is more like the wisdom to see the true nature of reality, something like that way. And then the intentions, like how we wish to do something good, and that will be the Bodhicitta, because it really focuses on for the benefits of all sentient beings, and then how like it you should think everybody as equal and no biases. So basically, we need the emptiness, which would be the wisdom, and then are that good, like compassionate intention, which would be the bodhicitta. So these both together, like the wings of a bird, together we would be able to achieve liberation and then attain Buddhahood.
Uh, Actually, I'm sorry if I'm butting in, but I've just thought of something that I wanted to say, and that is what I remember that I heard from Khenpo Kartar Rinpoche when he was asked about bodhicitta. And he said bodhicitta was several things. First, it was compassion and love for all sentient beings. And out of that compassion, the desire to relieve all their suffering. And realizing that the only way to genuinely end the suffering of sentient beings is through bringing them to enlightenment, that short of attaining enlightenment oneself and then leading other beings to enlightenment was not possible to alleviate the suffering of all sentient beings. So all those things together are what make up bodhicitta.
Tilas kare kon la ngema kare kembo lagi ani chanju sempa la di khande do na mi changma la chewa chik pa do te ni ro che ani khala so changma kan da thar tu di thar pa lam la ya thinye do ji ya on di res ani kan da chanju sempa la di gi ani mi changme che do la ya khande lor sang ge ga ji kulung di ma shi su su sang ge la di yo ma res tende ro ji ya 근데 로지 송송 스칸다 만다다 차긴 로망보스다 창말 제어되 직바도체 아니 디젤라 미창와 바트코르 타메 타르발람레야 티야 돌레니 안데도 덴데로다 차긴 조맹아스도지 연디 차장도지 안데도 지금다 찬주 셈바도야
제가 리 타라 버니 그 송하나 이 저런 버치 가르송부드세나 샹주 셈바 생에 되게 삼바 yendo 삼자 란도 혈런루 용스 호랑기 삼야디 yendo 짱냐마도 yendo마도 수소그 체도 세야는데 두산촌이 이거요 말이지 이나야 yendo 그 샤와 짱냐 제원도 란도 배 효도를 먹으세는 룬도야라고 어떤데 징문지 난 것도
And then just like Bernie mentioned, even His Holiness the Dalai Lama, he would be saying like bodhicittas are those certain beings who has the intention like intentions of benefiting like all the sentient beings for the sake of all sentient beings, like that's how they proceed, that's how they think. And then it's more like if they want to do some deed or like some good deed or any deeds, it's like while they are trying for or while they are doing for the sake of all other sentient beings, it's like your work is also kind of done along with that. Like how if they are focusing on completing like one task, but then they would be like thinking it or for the benefits of everyone, all sentient beings like that way, right? Somehow the work would be done. And then along with that, it's done like the work is also done, but for the sake of everyone. So like for the benefits.
Pena nge pension ji xue ye shamchuk semba ge tusang ye dang da meyu sing dang jue ro. Di kanren ro ji re do sana pena ama ji la pugni ye ba ina. Ta ama di ge pugni de du chen kine le yong de zamba ne pugni de ka kong go res. Pugni de ka kong go re jogo do go res. Ta pugni de ki je de chu chogan ro de go na jokpo thang go me wa yin ba song za ama di ge ritze la ige la chu ji ra de zamba ne ane pugni de sha che ne ane ritze la chu len ga chim ba res. Chu len ga ro de zamba ne Khurang kunung la ta ni pugni la chu ya po ji te kwa pugni ge kong se kwa sam ne di je ne Khurang chu choga chim ba res. 이게 초라용도 잠반에 안에 보군이라 때야게 최대 공세야게 최대 라바 마체 안에 코라에 초동전에 공세버레스 어디존도지레스.
And then if I need to give an example, like the way how Bodhicitta beings, the way they think and then their intention, it's more like if a mother, if she has two kids and then they were like if they are out doing a hiking, then everybody's kind of tired now, they need water. So she if she has to carry like both the kids and then need to go up on the top hill where there is a like pond and then where she would be able to get the water. So it's better if she just go there like without carrying them. They can be there on the ground level. She would just go fill up their bottle and then come down so that she can feed them and then quench their thirst, right? So just like that, if she carries them, it's gonna take much more time. So on her way, like when she go up there, when she fill the bottle, she would be drinking water as well, right? Because she was thirsty. And then she would come down and then feed the child. But all her intention and everything was for the kids, right? In order to quench their thirst, she went up there, she filled the bottle, she came down, feed them the water, and then she also drank water along with them. So this is like how even her thirst was quenched, like it was a good relief for her, right? Like how Bodhicittas, the way they do like for the benefits of all sentient beings, but in a way, like they are also done, like the work is also done in a way, like that way.
Can I add one thing here?
Sorry.
Because when I was in TCV, we have a motto. We used to call that others before self. So this is similar to Bodhicitta mind in the sense that you put others before self. However, the more you put others before self, you yourself is also going to be benefited equally. Same thing like the mother who go out to search of water because thinking that my two kids are so thirsty, and so even though mother's intention was mainly to quench the thirst of the two kids, but in the process of searching the water, she not only find the water and be able to quench the thirst of the kids, she herself also managed to drink the water, as Yanji said. So that way, while thinking for others, you are also yourself is also benefited and get advantage of it. So that's what I understood as Bodhicitta. Thank you.
ngadi nganju thoba ti khye ne ge chona yorwa ngarang choke samji ge komba druya ge depa yungi ge samji ge komba de drugu samsang ge lo de shamchu ge senche de samji ge komba druya de ngala dichi gogo do nga chipu gogo do nga dungel ne tha gogo do se te ma yin ba che ngala dewa yungi ge mane tane rowa ritu senche thanje ndasenanda nga da chipa ge dewan denge da dunge mendenge ge senjen do so changma senanda ndeso thatu ge dewala leya la nge ropa ti che gu gu do te ropa ti che wala ngarang tanda ropa di cheshing mundu ting ba sonza ropa cheshisa chil ngal le gugudu ting ba sonza nge sanji ko kompa dugudu samne sanu tinde chi resta yan reshe jata shenda chi chena.
And then in another way, like if I need to set it like the Bodhicitta, like if I need to explain it in another way, that would be like in order to attain a Buddhahood, the intentions, that would be like not for myself, right? I want happiness. It won't be like that's how they think, like the Bodhisattvas. They won't be focusing on like I want happiness, which is why I want to attain Buddhahood, and then I want to gain the liberation. Not like that way. They would be like for the sake of all sentient beings, or for the sake of those beings who really wishes to attain like Buddhahood, or who really wishes to gain happiness, and then away with all the negative energies and all these things. So that intention for attaining, that would be like another way of explaining the Bodhicitta, like for the sake of all sentient beings, so that right now like I'm unable to help them much, but like in order to help them in a certain way, so that I should be able to like attain the Buddhahood or achieve those things. And then like you want to achieve something for the sake of all sentient beings.
Wa den da ora chi. Ta ti chi du nganzo di chesar ko lani so du ma den go chu che ka lens la ta chi shuda.
Lensla, now should we do like brief starting on the 37 practices?
Certainly, yes. Thank you. You can see how we can have wonderful discussions and fill up time. No problem at all. So what I will do now is I'm going to screen share the 37 practices so that we're all looking at the same thing. Excuse me for a second till I change pages here. Now, as you all might know, there's many different translations for this. The main translation that I'm aware of comes from Nogal Togme Zangpo, the 37 practices of the Bodhisattvas. So even with this, there are different translations. So if you have a different one, don't be confused, and we will we'll get through and talk about this. So I'm just going to do the introduction right now, and if Geshe would like to speak to this, of course he would be welcome. But first is the homage to Lakeshwara. It says, I pay constant homage to my three doors, to my supreme teacher and protector Shenrezig, who, while seeing all phenomena lack coming and going, makes single-minded effort for the good of all living beings. Perfect Buddhas, source of all well-being and happiness, arise from accomplishing the excellent teachings, and this depends on knowing the practices. So I will explain the practice of the Bodhisattvas. So will you ask, please, Geshe, if he would like to comment on the homage?
Genshige Tangshe Kare the Kare Kandilo Yangundu Jigera.
Chuju.
Oh, Chugel the Jixunga.
Tara. Tanda di chitang ngarang tu ngochu thome zambo se kepa de nganso je tsongkha pa ge ngö kepa den res. Kepa sanje ma chapa che je tsongkha pa ge je zu renda wa sing ge keta chenbo che re digi ge ra wa che cha de res. Ane ngochu thome zambo sing khori cha kya pa ina gono jes to chine ralu cho de sa taw che je gus to chine khori ra ralu cho yu che ne o 최제 최쇼 로존을 근데 파 로겐죠 근데 지레디 하시 양sembo pe.
And then Mulshu Thome Sampo, the author for the 37 practices of Bodhisattva, was a great being. he was he was a young shepherd. He was from Tibet, right, Gishi, or a
Yeah,
great
yeah,
Indian
Tibet,
scholar.
Tibet.
He was a great Tibet scholar born before Tsongkhapa, which is like the
Shilo Chito
Gelupa
Ninja,
lineages. Mhm.
Shilo Chito Ninja, Guju Konga lo Tawazi Tunjor here.
He was born around 1295 years during those times, and he was born into a shepherd, like a family, a nomad farmer like family, and then at the age of 8, 9, while that's when he started like practicing into the Buddha Dharma, and then he was a really great being because he wasn't born as someone who was practicing. He was like he started practicing the Buddha Dharma, and then that's how he attained all this. And then he's a great Tibetan scholar who was a great teacher to many of those great Gelupa scholars, and then in the Gelupa lineage.
Only Bergndava Chagaban, Sajandava Chagaban, Ukushola, Nepali, Rana, Yunjo, Saja Sigre, Tangaranso, Tawaya Tunjo Chita, Ane Kori ke Lojon Chedi Samani, Gegen, Mambo Hivutin Yunjo Tandachi, Gegen Tian, Gabo Yoding. Gegen zane lojong lantang kepo hiwe ya dingi tende jile de xias te mi se ke kongri ke shangchuk sen la nyamne shivu che ne ane jase se de tsamba ne jawi ke se de jawa se ya de sanje le se gore sanje ke po se de tsamba ne sanje ke tuju la chungbi ke shangchuk ke sen de korang la chung de yo ba tende ngunzi che de ya jile de xias.
Mhm. And then he was a scholar who really loves seeking many teachers. He had many great teachers, and then he was a person who really loved to practice Bodhicitta. And on this one, for the practices, usually Bodhisattva, like they are also, if we directly translate this term, the Bodhicitta, it would be in Tibetan, that would be Buddha's heir, like Buddha's next generation, like heirs. So that's how like he believed everybody has Buddha nature in them.
O tende da chi che ane kori kepa top shamju ku sen ku su so nyongwa tuen ane yen la chape pe masi ki shamju ku sen de tende kola som dengi ke nyamnyong ku tohne som dengi tende chi re de xaas tende indi kong ke nanta di ko de la charam zo ki inji tohne yama di zi ziya ke chungba yin tena pe masi pento yore sangu dus.
Mhm. And then I do believe if you guys could go through like his autobiography, like I'm not sure if there is any English translation on his life or like on him, Nguchu Thongmin Sampo, the great scholar, but he is a really like a great being who had generated Bodhicitta on himself, and then with his experience and all these things, then he had other great teachings as well. So just like how there's 37 practices of Bodhisattva.
ane tanda nganzo namo loke khora ya song re tanda di jinri zila choba jogu do sirwa ane jinri zila choba joya de zo de jinri zi de shamba da zewa da nije ge la yinba song zang tende ge chani kongri la choba joya de pe mesi suso gu ju le tsu shamba da nije zewa tsu leya la pempa hiwe yonjo chi re di khas.
And then he is paying homage to the Lokeshwara, right? Lokeshwara is basically our Lokeshwara, Lord Chenrisi. Yeah, so which is the Bodhisattva of compassion. So if we pay homage
Buddha.
to yeah, Lokeshwara, and then that would be, since he is a great being of compassion, that would really help us in practicing more compassion.
ane tanda digi tsiji tanda di karasa wala tsiji tambu yechu yorwa digi karasongo do sena kanka chukun rung me zi chan rovi tiong la chido zanze paa se lani tsika dini ki karasongo do sena tangi nga ranzo chobo kunga nima laga chwa chide na ji xerab tang, toni topi xerab tang Rovi Tangla Chitu Zanze Pase to an Rovi Tangla Zomban Zenge, Zomban Zea, Gunu, Shanchuk Sem, Tenila, and a tap the Sherani, Sonde Nar Sonde Ranik Jula Tode, but then Yamu Chasa Ranil Yodebe Kazajing Wenzi Chikidus.
And then if we go through the verses like in a detailed way, protector Chinrisi, and then after the comma, Gishi was explaining the last two verses, like who, while seeing all the phenomena like coming and going, make single-minded effort for the good of all living beings, right? On this one, Gishi is applying that while striving for the sake of all living beings, the Lord Chinrisi, he has both the emptiness and then the wisdom of the emptiness and Bodhicitta's intention both, and then which is why he's striking like striving over for the sake of all living beings. And yeah.
Sigang Tangbo Dige, Kangu Chukun, Rome, Mezi Chang said, Sitige, Tony to be herab de ete. Roviton la Chito Zanzaba said, Shanchuk Sem de ete. Roviton la Chito Zanzaba, Rovit Carasaro, Roviton la Tato Zanzaba in Chito. What did Roviton la Chito Zanzaba Asera? Roviton la Shanchuk sensing it again, Roviton la Zamba Zeatia. Nimachi Mayimba, Dawachi Mayimba, Lochi Mayimba, Katu Yena Zomba Zeding, Tendeki Shanchuk Sem Jerendo, Timba Sonza, Chitu Zanzepa, said that Nimachi Tawanagi Pede, Tarchito Zomba Zeding, Tendeki Chane, and a cola, or Roitan La Chitu Zanzepa, and Tendesungudus.
And then it's not just like how you are making efforts, it's more like you are making this one he highlighted on the single-minded effort, like how the Bodhisattva Bodhicittas are striving solely or like single-mindedly effort for the goods of all living beings.
Oh, yeah. Tindevi and Ramnila Namchuk, Herab, Tony to be Hera Yoding. Rovala Tsewaki Yoding, Tsewa Yopatama and Royatola, Zundri Cheding in Rodan Druyalam, Besun Cheding again, Lama da Chinrisi Tesola, and Gos Lunga Yesonge, and a Taparishan Kushachi, yes, and it's Tambotigi, Shobat and the Jogudus.
And then that's how like he the author pay constant homage respectfully through the three doors, like body, speech, and mind, to his precious guru Chinrisi.
That Chezan Tenin Garanzo Tua the Karale with the Sena Lama Re, Chinrisi Re, Chebu Tamba Yenla, Kuha Chebaina, Kuhep Chebata. Choba Jobaina, Rana Pento Karayore, Rani la Gensen Karayore, Seate to watch him Chagdus.
Over here, he says how he highlights like I pay constant homage through my three doors, which would be the body, speech, and mind, to my supreme teacher, and then the protector Chinrisi, right? Gishi said the question arising here would be like, what's the benefit of paying homages to the great teachers, and then to Chinrisi? What would be benefited for us?
Tisang Tonsol Jebaina Ganso, Jitso Nano, Shenji Nano, Jitso Nano, Mambo Chik Tatan the Karadusena, Yen Quiche Jesse, Rani Nyam Mavur Zonrochi, Rani Nume Zonrochi, Rani Chikanji Munjung is Zonrochi, Yen la Quiche City, Yen the Yea Kana Shasuso Mamma Hiwi Yadi with Sonanda Yunrochi Sares, Tende in Samaris.
That's more like how in this modern world, when others say like if we respect someone, or that's like how a few people would be thinking, like if I respect somebody, it's like you're respecting and then putting that other in a very like high place, right? And then you are thinking you yourself is going like very down. That's really not true. Because over here, like how he is paying constant homage to his supreme teacher and then the protector.
Oh yeah, shitang kuihe se de jin sa shin che la ji kan zhe ji me la ma de bi ge mer re la che chue da yun den da ji su su le nam jue da de yue de hindu s de ne ba song za kuihe se ya de shitang lama chen bo da je bo dang ba da de so le kuihe go ba kan hi la ma chama le kuihe je tu ge de pe ma si ge che mo yin sa res de kuihe de je tu na su su le ji bu hu ye sa res kuihe ngwe ne jing ye de.
Mhm. As a human being, like everybody, even if it's a small kid or like an elder one, everyone has their own wisdom and their own mindfulness in a way. So it's really important to pay respect, and not only to your teacher or to those great beings like that way, but if we are being able to pay respect to everyone, that would be really like good for your own self as well. Like if you are being able to pay some respect, then yeah, that would be really helpful.
Do din hena kuihe se de chi gar chang se na ngaran so yen le ye wa ta menjo che ne chi chama le kuihe da chi je du na chama so so ko trobo yin de na wa da chi chi so so da sen ta ne bo da yin de na wa da chi pa kuihe ka che je bi ge che ji sen ta de pa ne ron ro ya ma to chi pa ta rin ro ma to ya chi yen ge yuen den le je che den yo so da chi de ji chona yuen ya sa res.
And if you keep respecting others, it would be more like you would feel closer to you will feel more closer, and then there won't be no bias as well. Because when you start feeling closer and then appreciate the others, then it would be less biased.
Tende imba sonza ngolo choba joya ta kuhe jeya de pe za chenpo tsego dos jebu tamba chogo nyamnyung tone.
And then the great beings and then these great scholars, they really like focus, and then they always pay homage to everyone.
So so shawa kande ji ngo tsamba ina te ngo ma tsangwe de la lama sanje changse shebu tamba de so la choba joya da kuhe jeba ina so so le dön de ngo ni shu pa do la ane le du yu ya la shinlap ta tende ji tende yo sares.
And then I also believe that paying homage to your teacher and then your protector and all these things is really beneficial. Like for example, when we make some prayer dedications and everything, so it's kind of helpful, right, to ourselves as well as our program and everything.
Oh dear, tadi wama tsite na ola kar tigre sena ana jase thome zambo ki ngege jase lalne sodyu ma de tigi yin te kar cheni tigi yin sena dende cheni chi tigi yin sene korang ki thachon rawo de songres.
And then the next line, perfect Buddhas, that one is mainly his own decision. Like the author Geshe Lharampa Sampo, his reason for writing this one, the 37 practices.
Oh yeah. Tende indi nganzo di to la nganzo di to drone yin ba song zang drone che du dene sheba bu ngwe ne yang ji she dang yin na re hyo dang yin na re ti kan de yin na sang sa re so na che na ba cho ge lang sa nga tu ska ne ti ka tu te la kan de yin yang jo de he ja gu de sen tende so na and gu res.
And since this is more of a discussion or session, so when we start with the verses, I would really appreciate if you guys want to stop me, like while I'm going through, while explaining. If you guys have any questions or anything, if you want to add something up, you can always stop me.
Oh, tende che ane sho chi ne ngaran so ti Tibetan singing juro tila sho tsama la keben hiwe ore la ti koyambo ko thoni di dwelling che ya de tsoba tsoya ti ke ngone thane sanglo khoto pe ya de la ta ti langa ti nga nyamnyu yes ta ti langa de langa chotu chubana ji res.
And on the other hand, us discussing this and then this question answer session thing, it's really beneficial, like to both parties. Even I'm being benefited from this one, and me as a practitioner, like I had done many discussion sessions with his own monk colleagues and everything. So like this is really good.
nge ngone chelam ba cholo pha chanja te ya tanda sano che me nge ngone cho chonso ta le cho lojon ta lobje ta chonso ko sano ko korto ta tende mambo raya ki tenga ranyu yola tando mambo raya ki tende rewa ta chene chi yes.
I would love to learn more and also listen more of your perspectives and then your thoughts and point of view on these verses as well.
Tadi oma tela ngaran so tila penden june zope samje namasal sondo wala ta phemba ta dewe ke june yena mena te sanji re songo ar tadi sanji ke phemba ta dewe june yena mena te sanji re songo re ta tende imba son sa sanji ko komba se de khandi chi yore sanji ko komba se de khandi chi drup thugure ngaran so matsama ko drup thugure re sanji ke komba seya de pedi dungi chun menjo pedi kaddu ina tendu ke deji seya je ta chun nano lo te songo yore ta te sondi tsamane taga rang rewe tende chi ye rewe seya de ta ngaran so ke sosol chwa yabu tiku kudus.
Mhm. And then followed by now let's focus on this one, the second verse. Perfect Buddha's source of all well-being and happiness arise from accomplishing the excellent teaching, which would be the sacred Dharma, right? So Gishi said, while going through this, we the question we can arise or like we can think, is there really an eternal happiness like which we are focusing, like how if we attain Buddhahood, that's like at a level of happiness, right? Like forever, eternal. And then he is thinking like, is this something really real or can we really achieve this?
Te kaana gonsunda karaswaya na sonro ches tanda ngaran so tiji yorwa ngaran so tanda mitse tel cha gya pa na lo ja nango ke mitse ji rwa ta lojja nano ko mitse chi inde samane ta nganso lojja nano na mitse ti nganso mitse chibo chego ar ta nganso sama mitse pe mitse chibo re yina ya nganso ti nano la naya yungu do chaya yungu do kare sem ma chipa yungu do chi gyan sembo mombo chi yung di kudo nganso tende yunga menjo su kanji mundu wa tende medyo tsambane ta nganso sanje seya te nam seng dunge tsawa nene menjo she lug dunge tsawa nene menjo mili yonjo te lunga yisung re lunga yisung ko dunge te ten to chawe sanje ko gomba seya chi ta nganso katu ina dechi yodenge tende ki sanje gomba seya chi ta ngone druya yorwe dru thugurwe druya ka thalam te yorwe seya chi tati nganso sebo pe misik zogwe ke ta sebo keche kyu te chawe yores.
And our this life we believe like for example like this lifespan would be between 80 to 100 years, right? We all believe, yet during this like in our life we always kind of suffer and then we always face unhappiness and then somehow like there is always ups and downs in our life, right? And then right now the perfect Buddha, who are the sources of all benefits and happiness, right? So do you guys really think like we would be able to achieve like that perfect Buddhahood, and then is that something really like we can achieve? And then this is something we really should focus on. And if you have like any points you can add on this.
Nganzo migi message yorwa migi techo yorwa shochi le sanotamba ina rimbo da chi res shochi le tana sanotana na hiu rimbo ke mares ina ya migi zupo ji yorwa migi zupo te da migi namju teni na halle banda chi re de khas ko ngone tani chechun zombo chi jujin yapo yodinge ke pe musik kare ina chetu dinge ke tende ki re de khas.
And then our lifespan, if we think deeply, it is kind of long and then it's kind of not, right? Sometimes 80 years, 80 to 100 years, it just goes. And then like how a day passes, like how these days it just how time just goes away. So, but then we have our mind and our body, which is a really like an excellent tool for us practice.
Nanso ngune tane ye ga nobutsa chekyu tena namsen de re sangu dus ta nganso ku juno yona menati nge ki sambal kadina lude da senyi de che tena ne tang ke chekyu de sen de re sangu dus ta jutsa chekyu na de.
And then we got our mind and our body, like the two most important tool in order to practice our Buddhahood or like Buddha nature and everything in order to practice everything into. So like both mind and body are equally important, but I believe like our mind is like a jewel to us.
Sende ngo ya po chi chöne sende le tata ya po chi zo thuro chena ana kadi na chi chibo chi ta chi pen cha cha ba na changkhang da chi na la lo chu ne hyo chi de go na ya khala di hyo hyo chi ra ba ni chibo chi ni de ji sa sang dos.
So if we are really able to shape our mind in a good way, we would really be happy. As long as, for example, if we need to stay like in the jail in a cell for like 20 years, but as long as we are given food, I believe we will be happy.
Ta ti tanda penden jone zobe sanje sen di sholo ka ni ba den tande chen sang sha sha ye ne yan jong an so tuwa tan de wi den den do na song ro ches.
Yeah, that is it from Gishi's end. So he would like to hear some point of view from your points.
So on the point of attaining enlightenment, attaining a understanding from the teachings, depending on knowing the practices, the Dharma and everything, what do you think of attaining it in this life? Or the next life is this life a stepping stone to our next life? Anybody have any comment about that?
I guess I think it's something that's that is possible. Not like to what degree would enlightenment actually look like? I don't know, but something like that I think is possible, and I base that on the fact of the logic behind it, of seeing how practices have worked in my own mind, but mainly from seeing beings like you mentioned, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and other beings that you can kind of see the proof of it in how other beings are in the world and what their mind seems like. That I think that the possibilities of what we can evolve into, I think, are pretty amazing. If I had to be honest, I don't think it's something that's really in the cards for me in this life in terms of like the kind of full enlightenment or Buddhahood. I doubt that, but I think it's possible for me to be more happy and more at peace and less selfish than I am now through practice in ways that could be really meaningful.
Thank you. Would you translate that for Geshe, please?
Genshuye dilas kare tang ngaranzu landscape theory di dirisha kare tse dila kisi sangro kaptu gema tuni kyegi andro di che yure do la disam tse dila kaptu sangro ki gema tuni ani ina di kare tse chima aji komba ge ga ji do ji chai ros ani Matthew ki khalas lana dilas kare tse dilya ani pat sangi khoban thopsari la do dan tendro ki mise mene ina tse dila susu ki kare 미스디 튀니 덴바도 지킨도 사메도 소소레 시와마 제 랑신용도 드레도 쇼라 온도
Payabud. Mati, thank you. Chanzo di pe nge ki mene tani nyamnyo chenpo re di khas chanzo pe masi kadin che es rwa. Takarang res ngarang so anji ki komba tse dil du tu na da ya khyo che du ma tu na ya ngune tani tanda nganzo 당안서 시단 제와 심마다 제와 심마세야 줘라 당안서 제일마 리페기 토네 깨차지에 용거레서 때 여바도 자샤 자레스다 때 촌의 여메가 도바촌의 제 먹어야 이내 안서 단다 통다 두고요 말했대 링람다 리페기 드럭 차는 로탄다 미기 히바가 차네 마 도시제네 히바를 마 준트는 로탄다 도스 산노 땅바이나 제와 심마 여바데 세브레스 디 마티처랑기 투상 예탄나이 첸들 수소고 최쇼기다 삼바 잠보다 가츠지 제비 최디기 디 문에 자네게 제와 제말 키로에 이제 잘라데 데레스 다 달러 다 캄바 다 세다 무이다 때서 키로에 요 말ite 다티 키로에 이제 데티브레스 문에 자네 잘라데
Thank you. And then Geshe is really amused with your practices, and then he really respect like how everybody has great practices. And then he said regarding the beliefs in next life and everything, we would be certainly talking more about this in our like following sessions. And right now, if we say like there is next life, we won't be able to see it in a certain way, like we can show it, but I really believe like it exists. And then just like how Matthew said, in this life, if we like how our practices are making us more peaceful, and then making it more like how our lives in a more meaningful way, and then like less selfish and all these things. He really liked that, and then he believed that this wisdom like of us being more like practicing all these things, we can carry these wisdoms into our next life like as a stepping stone, and not like how we won't be able to carry all our other things, right? Like we won't be carry our legacies and all these things, but yeah, we can definitely carry these wisdoms.
나디 츠 캔사지 베제 타야 디 직전에 츠디 캔사 차고에 너무 히스 땅랑랑랑기 산노 땅땅지 인스 니기 단단하랑서 최쇼고 로종데 담반데 이나레 면나 잡디 이나레 단달라 소소게 로제추 고추 자데바이나 딜파베게 소소 최쇼고 로종 제탄지 땅 마음바 히주디 땡케바 임바 손자 해당 거르텔랑에 단단히 장거여스 대티츠디 캔사 차게는 맨날 히스
Sorry. Gishi said like since he's not sure if this is I don't know whether to highlight or not, but he said since we all believe like somehow by certain time like we all are gonna pass away, right? We all gonna die, and he believed that when we practice our dharma, like when we pray and all these things, it's really great practice. And he said that he also practiced on like he is learning on like dying, like that process as well.
띵이 럭외 준세 간이스나 간소 제버레 데네야 차루 중버레 타말 치야레 데송데 간소 타쳐 차버레스타디 코랑아서 주포디키데 잠바네 로탄다버지레스티.
And then his reason for stating this is since we were born as a human, like there would be like these three phases which we have to go through, like being born and then grow and then we would pass away.
And 때 인도 잠바네 간소 치야 꼬텔라 로종 티 지다 단다 코리고 솜바나기 간소 로종 첸델로 마티고 솜바나기 첸델로 로종 야보치 제기 야바나디 첸델라랑 상지 마투나 시말라 케여르세 텐데게 산노데 메바이나 지 치야그 두쳐데 문에 깬자델레 레온디 강이 첨부지다 미세그 콜라 셀라 나운다도 퇴바지 제사레 삼사도 덴데 초구도스.
And then I believe we should learn or like focus a little more on the passing away and death side as well, because just like how Matthew stated, like we can carry this wisdom, right, for our next life. So if you are on that time of the like age or time where like you're gonna pass away, if you are scared of like death, there would be like you won't be able to focus on the wisdoms and then the practices, right? You would be anxious or scared, and then would be thinking of something else rather than the practices, and then which where like we would be able to carry that one. So this might like in a way block our this thing. So it would be great if we are able to like think about death as well.
ane ngege chona se gona ngarang samdan ro cheba ina mitse ndi sopo yapo semba yapo mitse ndi yeb susol katse debe ringala yapo dapo jeb chene chete chene kol mitse ndege tanda duya ta mitse shima ga tanda duya ge tanda yapo du chi guya de ke chekhe thong dos ane tene ne chim ro ya de ko ke hale ma dos ke wo tolo jebolo be zon da jires yanju shima dela yang shen chi la pa to jewa len ro re jewa de yapo chi len thu ya de so so ge ngen ki tu gu sang dos.
And then I believe like this life, wherever we are, we should always treasure our life. And then and when the death time comes, there will be no regret as long as you treasure your own life, like the current life. And it's more like when the death comes, you die, and then you'll be reborn as well. It's more like a changing clothes. You'll be reborn as like a younger version of yourself, and where again you can keep growing. So as long as we can be like focus more on the wisdom ones, so which we can carry on.
Oh yeah, tangi ti mata por kor ti si hyugi bi kecha yinse. Ti yang khahi yang ti karase ura ndopa mengi tanda yungu dos nam karase ura mata pa kecha he de tra de tanda tanda da chumbai na nga ti ti gonda hyugi yinse yang ji nga ti si kecha de tata degi na sam sente dos.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Doji.
Oh, thank you. The Brother Lance, if there's time, I would like to just make one quick comment.
Certainly.
Yeah. So as I listened to Geshe's teaching and getting a little bit of understanding of what Buddhism and what this 37 practice of Bodhisattva, as we just started now, in theory, it seems so beautiful, so good, and so real, and very persuasive. But when it comes to the individuals, to like myself, and when I try to put it into practice, then that's often I struggle with. Like I understand, okay, I understand that putting others before self it really going to help you eventually. It's really good for you as well as for others. That's what I understand. But when I go practicing, maybe I want, it might not be exaggerating to say that I always think of myself like first. Whatever I do, I think of first for myself, and then only when I'm in a better positions, then I tend to help with others and so on. So I don't have that kind of a Bodhicitta or Bodhisattva mind, try putting others before self. So how I can practice, how I can put it into real practice when I encounter an issue or problem. So thank you.
Yes, thank you.
For that one, Dojila, I believe it was sorry, it was Alex, right, who was saying like Bodhisattva vows. I believe we can practice by starting with taking those vows, like, and then we can keep it into practice, like maybe 5 to 10 minutes daily, and then eventually, like, hopefully, it would become 10 to 20, and then by the time, like, after 1 year of practice, and then it would keep growing, and then once it grows within yourself, then somehow we would be able to like think or at least help others, like for the sake of like in that way. Yeah, hopefully if we do some vows or something like that.
Thank you.
I would also add, and we've said this many times, is attending, making a commitment to these kinds of teachings, is a step in creating that discipline for ourselves. Because to attain to set a graduated path for us, and this is the path right now of education, of we're learning, what it is to be a bodhisattva, and so this is a foundation point to be able to develop our practices upon. So making a commitment and staying with that is a huge step. Developing that practice, developing that discipline. So I think it's time that we have to end for today, and thank everybody. Thank you all very much for attending and your comments and questions. And Geshe La, thank you very, very much. And Yangshin did a wonderful job in translation, and Dorje and being supporting that, and everybody asking good questions and so on. So trying to be respectful of the time, we'll recite our Dekorma prayer. Dekorma means a dedication prayer. So this is a prayer that we use in the Drikung Kagyu. So we will recite this in the English, if that's okay. By the virtues collected in the three times, by myself and all beings in samsara and nirvana, and by the innate word of virtue, may I and all sentient beings quickly attain unsurpassed, perfect, complete, precious enlightenment. May the teachings of the great Drikung Ratna Shri, who is omniscient, Lord of the Dharma, master of interdependence, continue and increase through study, practice, contemplation, and meditation until the end of samsara. And of course, that includes all the great masters of all the great lineages. So we recite Om, Ah, Hum, Om, Ah, Hum, Om, Ah, Hum. May my body, speech, and mind become inseparable with the body, speech, and mind of all the enlightened ones for the benefit of all sentient beings. Thank you all.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Geshe La. Thanks, Yangshin. Thanks, Dorje.
Good night.
See everyone
Good
next
night,
week.
Geshe La. Thank you. We'll see you again next week. Everybody stay safe.
Thank you.
Good night, Joe.
Good night.